The US President Donald Trump says he expects to strike a wide-ranging deal with China during his upcoming meeting with the President Xi Jinping. The summit between the two superpower leaders appears to be on track despite a recent spike in tension. Live to our Asia correspondent Stash Butler, he's in Taipei. What did Donald Trump say about what would be part of this deal, Stash?
Well, Laura, it's clear that Donald Trump wants to include, everything really that he can in this deal. He highlighted tariffs being the primary concern. Now, the US has threatened an extra 100% tariff on China starting in just a few days if some kind of arrangement is not reached. He also singled out soybeans. That's a market for US farmers that was worth $12 billion last year. That's now dropped essentially to zero because China has just sourced those soybeans from other places. So a lot of pain being felt by US farmers. What Donald Trump did say is also that he's not worried so much about rare earth minerals, the export of which China has threatened to put under controls. Perhaps that's because of the deal that he struck just recently with Australia's Prime Minister.
I think we'll make a deal. I think we're going to make a deal on the rare earth is the least of it. Look, the tariffs are much more powerful than the rare earth. The rare earth is a disturbance, but there's a lot of rare earth around. I'll tell you, I've had more calls on rare earth. We've got it, everybody's. We'll make a deal on, I think, everything. I think we're going to make a deal on soybeans and the farmers.
Now, Donald Trump also said he hopes to include China in nuclear de-escalation talks between the world's two largest nuclear powers, that being the US and Russia. Now, that's something that so far Beijing has resisted.
We have the most nuclear weapons. Russia's second. China is actually third by a long way, but they'll be even within 4 or 5 years. Too many. And we are talking about de-escalation. That's already being talked about. And I think we'll probably add China into the mix.
Yeah, he wants to add China into the mix when it comes to solving that war with Ukraine, when it comes to Russia, right, Stash?
That's right, and I think Donald Trump made it clear he sees President Xi Jinping and China as an avenue to put pressure on President Putin to end that war in Ukraine. Now, China and Russia have what they describe as a no-limits friendship, and it's clear that Donald Trump sees Xi Jinping as a point of leverage to bring that conflict to a close.
I think he can have a big influence on Putin. I think he can have a big influence on a lot of people. Look, he's a respected man. He's a very strong leader of a very big country. Yeah, I think he can have a big influence. And we will certainly be talking about Russia, Ukraine.
Of course, it remains to be seen whether China will yield to that pressure, to put pressure in turn on Russia. We saw last month, obviously, President Putin and Xi Jinping looking quite chummy in Beijing on the sides of a large parade there. But it's clear, certainly, Laura, that there's a lot on the plate for this Trump-Xi summit, which is coming up just at the end of this month.
Yeah, it is. Thanks so much, Stash.